Let's move over to a different story this week in media news. I was taken aback a little bit when I saw that CBS, the Tiffany network, the network of Murder She Wrote and 60 Minutes, has launched a new series. CBS Morning News launched a new series called Mornings in the Metaverse, where they're going to devote time each week to talk about this evolutionary technology and what it means for different business. They had a first segment last week where they visited Altspace VR and talked a little bit about the Meta Facebook name change back in the fall. But Rob, can anything be more mainstream these days than Mornings in the Metaverse on CBS? And what does that mean for us going forward?
It's perfect for CBS to take that tack. If you think of like Charles Kuralt, right, from way back in the day, and how he would go do the human interest stories, and you never knew from week to week what was going to be talked about. And CBS has done that. The other news shows have done that as well. And the metaverse is, in many respects, ideal as well for those human interest stories because of the different ways in which the digital world merged with the real world will be impacting people from every walk of life, right? Whether it's not just corporate America that's benefiting from being able to collaborate in the metaverse, or being able to feel like you're meeting with a colleague who's halfway across the world. Now you're doing it across a conference room. It happens to be virtual. It's better than, say, Zoom on your screen. It's not just those folks that are benefiting. It's also just, regular Americans that are not necessarily ensconced in corporate life. You have anything from pop culture. You have concerts happening. You have tourism happening in the metaverse. For those, take an example where someone who maybe is elderly or in some other way incapacitated and wants to go relive some favorite trip that they had, and maybe they want to do that with an old friend who's a couple hundred miles away, and they're not able to get together to do a new trip, not because of the pandemic, but because just of their own advancing years or whatever reason. And now they can go do that in the metaverse. What a perfect story, right? For Mornings in the Metaverse on CBS. What's your take?
I'm like interested to see. I feel like this series is great to show this human side. It's going to show just like most CBS stories, it's going to show the people behind it. So in this first episode this week, they were going through some Altspace users and talking about, the real human feel, the real lifelike feel they got in some of the conversations and interactions that they had on Altspace. And they'll talk a little bit about, I'm sure, some of the ethical challenges that'll happen as this broadens and becomes more mainstream with people. But there's a lot of different content out there that can focus a lot on the technical specs and what the new technology is and how we'll all be wearing contact lenses that are wired in 10 years with augmented reality. I am intrigued by watching this series develop and seeing kind of the people behind it and the people that are adopting, the people that are using, and some of the both success stories and true wins, like you mentioned, the true use cases that appear that improve people's life, which is really the benefit of any great technology, and also some of the questions that will confront everybody as it evolves here, because it's really a great unknown as to where this goes. So it'll be interesting to follow the series for sure.
I have a question for you. How long do you think this series goes, and what do you think prompts it to no longer be needed or no longer be aired? And I'm asking in part from context. I saw an interview from the Today Show from 20 some years ago, and it was, what's the internet? And they started talking about, in some sort of recurring way, like the ability for people to get online and America Online and maybe Prodigy or CompuServe going back a few, maybe even a few more years. What's your sense as to how long this programming lasts?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of catching up to do. I mean, it's pretty fertile ground um, to mine. I could see them doing 10 or 12 episodes on some of the baseline functionality, some of the baseline platforms. If they want to take it longer, they could come back and talk about, truly the future of, these integrated technology paths around whether it be blockchain or crypto or NFTs, augmented reality. We still haven't seen a lot of commercial consumer driven augmented reality yet. So any announcement by Apple in the fall could, could spark a whole series in and of itself. So in many ways, they're getting ahead of that announcement now and laying the groundwork and the foundation for people to understand what some of this adaptive technology might look like and might be used for, ahead of something that raised to be a pretty big cultural news event, as many people expect later in the year. So I could see him taking it through the summer, pausing and seeing where it goes after Apple.
Yeah, or it could go like, say Apple doesn't announce in the fall and they wait till next year. Yeah, you're right. It could easily go for quite a while and get supercharged by Apple's announcement.